I'm a completely changed person, and that is all thanks to Jesus.
I just thank God for the grace and the mercy that He has shown me.
Hi guys, I'm Shawn.
My name is Jennah, and I've been going to Oceanside for 6 years now, and I was baptized 3 years ago.
I've been here for almost 3 years now. Oceanside was a huge reason why I came back to Christ.
God and spirituality was not part of my life at all. I thought you could just think your way through life and you could white knuckle it and force through, and that didn't work. And it got really dark, and life is way too hard for that.
I was brought up in the Salvation Army on the mainland. Every Sunday morning, you had to be ready for church. There was just a peace in our family that was just always about God and, loving Him, but it was never really my choice. As time went by and as I got into my teens, I kind of put it on the sidelines.
I was living this kind of what seemed to be a really beautiful kind of white picket fencey life with a, happy, healthy, supportive husband and happy, healthy kids and a beautiful property and home and all the things that you would think would make somebody happy. And I was living in hell. It was horrible.
12 years ago, I lost my wife to cancer. My life revolved around alcohol, drugs, all kinds of drugs. I was just looking for that fix, that something to replace that love, that joy that was just gone from my life.
It's a hard world to live in if you don't have light, and I didn't have any light.
It's almost like being in the bottom of a well, and there's a light, but you can't get there, and you're just stuck in darkness.
A friend of mine who I grew up with and I love very much was in an even darker place. And she was living on the streets, addicted to heroin, and had been for a good while. We'd somewhat reconnected, and so I was trying to help her out a bit. Then she kind of disappeared again into the darkness. And then called me one day, months later, asking for help.
I was with someone who was my partner and was really, really bad for me. We were just in drugs and addiction together. And I just knew it was wrong. One day God just spoke to me and, this isn't what you're meant to do. This isn't what your life's meant to do.
Well, God spoke to me and He said, you take her to church tomorrow. We walked in to this church not knowing what to expect.
I didn't even really know where to start. My first thought was, I'm just going to stop at that church on Sunday and, just give this a shot.
And the service that day was on love. And everybody was so genuinely loving and accepting and welcoming and curious. It made us want to come back. And it made me want to come back. As I started to understand the gospel and I started to be offered opportunities to explore it, and it started to become relevant to my life, and I started to realize there's a different way to look at the world and live in the world, it changed everything.
I had a bit of a breakdown, and I realized that this is where my faith was calling me, was to the church.
I was listening to this song that says, I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. And I swear, I felt the Holy Spirit. And all of those chains broke. And I just realized I didn't have to live a life of fear or anxiety. The gift was given that I didn't have to live in that place, that we don't have to live there.
I feel a sense of peace in my life. I don't feel alone anymore. It's great to take all these worries and fears and give them to Him. I've since adopted my nephew, started a charity, and I'm even leading our grief share program.
And now my life is so full and so full of light. My priorities have shifted. There's just so many places that I want to volunteer, and there's so many people that I've met that I want to help, and there's so many, ministries that I think are important.
I finally feel like I've made it to the top of that well. It saved my life.